Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope that you're having an amazing day. So last night we had our monthly live energy healing call inside the membership, and a lot of the stuff that came up inside the energy healing was just like the whole time I was like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to make a video about this. I can't wait to make a video about this. I can't wait to share about this. So there were like a lot of different juicy topics and themes that were coming up last night. And yeah, there's a few things that I really want to touch on here today with you guys. So first things first, before we dive into it, this is also just a reminder that right now there is a 14-day free trial for the membership, which, like I just said, every single month we do a live group energy healing call. And if you join, for the 14-day free trial, you can go back and actually watch the recording of the one that we just did. And it doesn't matter that you weren't there live or that you weren't in the group. You're going to receive the energy healing as you're watching it. So you can go back and watch that if you want to know what that was all about. We also have other live monthly calls, so just on various topics. We do group Q&A. There is a living library of content, guided meditations, affirmations, journal prompts, old workshops, master classes. There's so much in there. There's a monthly energy forecast where I go over different energies and themes that you can expect for that upcoming month. And then there's also a group forum where you can connect with me, with other members of the group. And it's just a really fun place to be. You also get some additional bonus content that I'm not even mentioning. So there's a lot in there. And if you join for the 14-day free trial, you'll get to kind of test it out and see if you like it and see if it's something that you want to be a part of. But essentially, if you like the content here, you're going to love what's in the membership. It's basically just more in depth, and yeah, just we go into all of it on a deeper level. And we also get to know each other more on a personal level because, like I said, we do group Q&A. You get to come to the calls, ask your questions. You get to post in the group forum, all that type of stuff. So anyways, check that out. The link is going to be down below for the membership. Okay, so like I said, we had the energy healing call last night, and it brought up multiple different themes. And the one that I really want to focus on in this video is this idea that the past doesn't matter in terms of, when you're wanting to create something new in your reality or manifest something new. Oftentimes we base like what's possible for us off of our past experiences and what's happened for us in the past. And oftentimes we feel like held back or blocked, or we have kind of this story that we build up about ourselves and what's possible for us because of the past, because of what we've experienced, because of, we're looking back and saying like, well, this is always what happens for me. Or like, well, I don't know if that's going to work because this is how it worked out last time. Or, I don't know. I just always find myself in these situations. So I can't imagine it going like that. And so we kind of have these ideas and views, and it's really because we're basing it off the past. And so one thing that came through so strongly last night in the energy healing was this message that the past isn't even real. It's not even like it's gone. We've all heard these sayings before, like the past isn't real, or the past is gone, or leave the past in the past. But I really want you to sit with this and think about it on a deeper level today as we're talking about it, because I don't know about you guys, but for me, I can hear something a bunch of times, but then there's like one time that I might hear it and all of a sudden it clicks and I feel it on a different level. And it's like, I get it. It's like, oh, now I get it. Like that's how I feel when I sometimes hear something the right way or hear it from a certain person, or it's just for some reason it's the right time and I get it. I can like feel it in my body and I'm like, okay, now I get it. That happened last night for me and for the other people that were there on the call. I knew that we were all having this moment together. We were like, oh my God, this is what this really means. And it's kind of like that deeper knowing and feeling that came through. And so I want you to just really sit with this today, even if you've already heard it before, even if you're feeling like, I know this, I get this. Sit with this and see if something clicks for you on a deeper level. So yeah, it's really just this idea that the past is gone. It literally doesn't exist anymore. And you are the one that like reawakens it or resurrects it every time that you tell that old story, every time that you look back at it as a reference point for like what you can now create for yourself, or you're the one that like re-energizes it and brings it back to life. Like the past is gone. It does not exist anymore. Like if we're like honest with ourselves right now, you're in this now moment. You're not in the past, right? Like you're in this now moment. So how could the past also be alive? It's only alive because you're the one telling the story. You're the one bringing it, like dragging it around with you in this now moment. And so this is where, you know, we prevent ourselves from really allowing ourselves to create what it is we truly desire because we are telling a story of something that happened in the past. The only thing that exists is this now moment. How could the past be existing at the same time? It doesn't, right? And the funny thing about this is that like oftentimes the past, we have a skewed perspective anyways, right? Of the past because we have our own judgments and it's like we're the ones that are deciding how we feel about certain situations or scenarios. And, this is why multiple people could have had the same experience in the past, but if you asked each of them what happened or how they felt, they would all describe it differently and they would all have felt differently. Someone could have a totally different perspective of what happened. I mean, I can't tell you the amount of times I've talked with people and we've told stories of the past and someone remembers it a completely different way compared to how I remember it. Or somebody shares that they felt something and I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't feel that at all. I literally had this experience, which is almost like opposite to that. So it's like, it's not like this fixed thing anyways. Like the past is not this fixed, like this is what happened and this is only what happened and this is exactly how it was. And because of that, this is like what's always going to be possible for you. You can choose to let the past affect you now and affect what you believe is possible for you now. But it really doesn't matter unless you believe it does. Like that's the trick. And I feel like this is a common theme with a lot of the videos I've been doing lately is like, nothing matters unless you say it does. Nothing matters unless you give it the power. Nothing has that meaning or has that weight unless you give it to it. So it's the same with the past. Like it doesn't matter if we're just going to give the example of like a business. It doesn't matter if you feel like you failed at 3 different jobs or 3 different businesses or whatever the case may be for the last 10 years, you haven't been successful in your business. It doesn't matter. You could wake up today and it's like, why does that have anything to do with who you are right now in this moment? I know this is kind of like a weird, it's almost a little bit trippy to think about it because it's like we're so used to identifying with what's been happening up until this point, but you get to choose in every single moment. And I think, again, this is something that I've heard people talk about, like just choose, you can start over tomorrow. You can choose who you want to be. But I feel like something hit differently for me last night and I'm hoping it will for you too, which is like, it's not just like the past doesn't matter or forget the past or leave the past in the past. It's like all that exists is literally this moment. Like you can't argue that. Like you're literally in this moment right now. The future hasn't happened yet. The past is done. It's gone. It literally does not exist anymore unless you keep telling the story of it, unless you keep reawakening it. So you could have 10 years where you felt like you haven't been successful in business and you could wake up today in this moment right now and decide that's not who I am anymore. And you don't have to like go through some huge process to change it. You just have to decide, do I want to keep identifying with that? Do I want to keep telling that same story? Does that feel good to me? Because here's the thing. If what's happened up until this moment feels good to you and you really like it and it feels amazing to tell that story and it feels great in your body and you feel like alive and energized and excited when you're thinking about it and talking about it and you want to keep continuing it, then great. Reawaken the past all the time. Like if you want to continue keeping that energy going, go with it. But if it doesn't feel good to you and it's not serving you, why would you keep telling that old story? What is it doing for you? Why would you keep bringing that energy and that way of identifying yourself into this now moment? You can choose in any moment to identify as something different. I know sometimes it doesn't feel that way and the past can feel like it's this heavy thing, but it only feels that way because you're giving it that power and meaning. Does this make sense? I really want this to get through. And it's like, after this video, I want you guys to just take some time and sit in this moment. Just close your eyes, take some deep breaths, and just feel yourself in this moment. Feel yourself in this moment and really sit with this, knowing that it's just this moment. The past is done. It literally doesn't exist anymore. It does not exist anymore. It's done. It's not happening right now in this moment. The only way it would feel like it's still alive is if you're still telling the same story. If you're still feeling the same shame and guilt from something that happened, 5 years ago. If you're still feeling fear and anxiety over something that, happened 3 weeks ago. It's like, why? How is that serving you in this now moment? You have to realize that the way that you create your reality and manifest the things that you desire is by changing what's in here, not pushing and forcing what's on the outside, but deciding how you want to feel and who you want to be in here, in this now moment. It's just one series of now moments after the next, after the next, after the next. And really, it's honestly just one long now moment. And if you start to choose right now that you're not going to tell that old story anymore, that you're not going to feel those things anymore, because you realize the past is not real. It does not exist anymore. Why would you give it any power? Why would you let it contribute to the story that you're telling in this now moment? This now moment is the moment that's going to lead into the next moment. That's going to lead into the next moment that is going to be creating your reality. So what is serving you in this moment? What story serves you? Does it serve you to tell a new story about yourself? Maybe like we just said the example, you've said, well, for the last 10 years in business, this is what's happened. Like, what do you mean the past isn't real? This is what happened. Okay, but the past is done. It doesn't exist. So if you want to continue to tell the story of it, that's okay. And you can choose to do that, but be real with yourself about how is it serving me? Is it energizing the desires that I want to be creating? When I tell that story, how do I feel? Well, here's what I would feel. If I was telling the story all the time, I've been a failure for the last 10 years in business, I would feel discouraged. I would feel frustrated. I would feel sad. I would feel let down. I wouldn't really feel motivated to get back out there and do anything. I would feel like I want to go hide away and just do nothing. Right? So why would I continue to tell that story? I feel like, and I'm going to do a whole other video on this one up next about how you have to decide where your loyalty lies. Is your loyalty to this story of what's happened in the past, or is your loyalty to yourself and how you feel and what you want to create in your life? Because if your loyalty is to sticking to the story of the past and telling it that way, then you're going to continue to create more of that feeling, more of those situations. If your loyalty is to yourself, then come into the realization that in this now moment, you can choose anything that you want. You can be anything that you want. It's all about you and how you feel. So if you know that it's just about you choosing thoughts and stories and feelings that feel good in this moment, and that's going to lead you into the next moment, and it's going to lead you into the next moment, that's going to create your reality, then why would you sit here in your moments of each day reawakening stories from the past? I know that this is sometimes challenging in the moment. I get it. I understand how some things feel so real and they feel so strong and they feel so it does just feel like they're very real. But the more that you practice kind of just coming into the moment and just taking some deep breaths and closing your eyes and really just feeling how the only thing that's actually real right now is this now moment. Like the only thing that exists is the now. I think, at least for me, it's helped me to really release any attachment to the past, and helps me, like, if I'm starting to tell an old story, even just in my own head to myself, I can catch it a lot quicker and realize, and it doesn't feel as heavy or as like sticky. It feels like I'm able to become aware of it and kind of just let it go. Because I think once you have these deeper awarenesses, it's like you know too much. You know too much about how this stuff works. And it's like if you start telling an old story like, oh man, well, this never worked for me for the last 10 years, or oh, it's always been a struggle for me to lose weight, or I've always had, I've always struggled with my skin, that, this is just how it is, or, it's always been difficult for me with my romantic relationships. Like, it's just, I don't know. It's just hard for me to connect, or people are always, treating me like this. Well, then that's the story. And then you're going to keep awakening that. But it's like, if you start to practice tuning into the now moment and feeling it, then when those stories come up, you can kind of witness them and realize like, okay, is that the story that I want to be telling? Because the past doesn't exist. I'm in this now moment. So what would be the purpose for me to retell that story? If that is something that I want to continue to create, which it's okay if it is, then okay, keep telling it. But if I don't like it, like, how does it make me feel when I tell that story? When I tell the story of like, I can never find the right partner, it never works out for me, then it's like, well, that doesn't feel very good. I don't like the way that I feel. Okay. And if my loyalty is to myself and to the reality that I'm creating, and to creating a reality that really aligns with my desires, then what's the point in telling that story? I'm going to start telling a new story. I'm going to start telling the story of somebody who has amazing relationships and who feels so happy and in love with their partner and in love with their life, right? Like, those are the stories I'm going to tell. And I think, again, I'm going to go into this more in other videos, but I think this is where we get tripped up and we feel like we're lying or we're not being realistic or whatever. And it's like, it doesn't matter. Like, this is about you and your reality. So again, decide, like, where's your loyalty? Is your loyalty to telling the truth of like something that happened to you in the past? Or is it to feeling good, feeling energized, feeling alive, feeling like the best version of yourself, and creating a reality that really does align with the desires in your heart? Something like a little mantra that I've been saying to myself to help me with this is, it's just been like any moment where I feel the past creeping in, or I feel like an old story coming up, I just remind myself, die to the past in every moment. Die to the past in every moment. And what I mean by that is just like, I have to let that part of me die, that I can let that old part of me die. And like, this is not like dramatic. If you don't like that word, you don't have to use it. But to me, it's like, this doesn't feel like harsh or mean. It just means like in every moment, I'm going to die to the past. Like, I'm going to let the past die. I'm not going to keep it with me. I'm not going to drag it around with me. To me, it actually feels like this really loving saying. It's not like, death or like in a bad way. It's like, in every moment, I'm going to die to the past. I'm going to let it go. I'm going to let it go. I'm going to let it go. I'm not going to bring it with me. I'm going to choose to let that just fall away. It's like the feeling that I get when I say that is very much this almost like surrender feeling of like, okay, I'm just letting it go. I'm letting it go, and I'm coming into this moment, and I'm asking myself, how do I want to feel? What do I want to feel in this moment? What do I want to create in this moment? Because I can create anything. In this moment, I can choose to feel anything. Any feeling is available to me in this moment. If I want to feel love, if I want to feel joy, if I want to feel abundant, if I want to feel free, that's all available to me in this moment. However, it's really difficult to get there if you're still spinning the old story and focusing on that. Like, I know that when you're preoccupied with the past and you're still telling the old story and you're still carrying around the old guilt and the old shame and the old disappointment and the old frustration, then you can't fully access everything that is here for you in the now moment. And everything that's here for you is anything and everything you want. It's limitless possibilities. You can choose to feel and take on the identity of anything that you want. And it's really hard to access that and grasp it and really kind of like have that deeper understanding of it when you're still telling the old stories. So if you're like, I don't understand yet, or I'm not there yet, then the first thing is just to keep practicing getting comfortable with this idea that like the past is done. It's not just done. It's like it literally doesn't exist. The only thing that exists is this now moment. The past doesn't exist. How could it exist right now? You're in this moment. The past doesn't exist here. The only way that the past continues to exist is because you're going to reawaken the story and continue to tell it. And so if you're going to do that, then that energy is going to perpetuate itself. If you don't want to do that, then just get comfortable with the knowing that this moment is all that exists. This moment is all that exists. And when you start to get more comfortable with that, it'll be easier to detach yourself from the stories when they start popping up, and it'll be easier to then start to feel into how everything is there for you in this moment, how you can choose any state of being you want in this moment. And remember, it's not about necessarily going out there and doing things and taking it. I mean, you can, if you feel inspired, yes, go take an action, do something. But this is more about you in here, in each now moment. You can choose who you are, how you want to feel, who you want to be, the identity, like what you believe about yourself. Do you believe that you're a failure because of your business for the last 10 years? Or are you choosing in this moment to believe you're a wild success? You're wildly successful. It doesn't matter what the past says. Why would you look to the past to give you like the proof or the validation of who you truly are? Where does your loyalty lie? Who you truly are, you know that in here. The past can't tell you anything about that. You have to be the one to tell it. If you let the past dictate that, then again, you're reawakening the past, you're re-energizing those same things, and then that's what you're going to continue to create more of in your reality. I hope this makes sense for you guys. Let me know if you have any questions. Comment down below. Let me know if this really resonated for you. If you had any aha moments, I want to know, because I know for me, this has just been a big one. And maybe I'll make some more videos about that coming up. Like I said, click the link down below if you're interested in trying out the 14-day free trial of the membership. If you're interested in working with me one-on-one, I've got some links down below for a single session, a package of 4 sessions. And then I've also got the link down below to apply for one of my longer term one-on-one programs. These are where we go a lot more in depth. These are longer sessions. There's more of them. It includes multiple different things like one-on-one instant messaging in between calls. So like we have a certain number of calls in these longer term packages, and then in between them, we have this one-on-one messaging service so that you get access to me in between calls. Yeah, there's just a bunch of extra stuff in those packages. And then there's also one in that application form that specifically is for business as well. So if you're interested in like a more energetic and intuitive approach to running a business, starting a business, amping up your business, there's a coaching option for that as well. All right. I don't think I'm missing anything. Sending you guys so much love. And oh wait, don't forget, hit like if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel. And now I think that's it. Okay. Sending you guys so much love, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.